Oh, hello. Hey, house guests. Welcome to today's Big Brother 22 updates and spoilers. Oh my God, we got a lot to get through today. There has been some crazy ass gameplay. But anyway, our house guests of the day before we get started are Rosemary Gross and Mark Katina. Thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. Like, seriously, amazing. Thank you. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. And I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters. I see we also have super chats already from Shane Shaji and S. Dean. Thank you both so much. You're amazing. And also yesterday's, let's see, we've got Desiree Stewart, Anita Starr, Patton Pandemonium, love that name, Rachel McClung, Jefferson Tucker, MJS Lawrence, Callie, David Gregory, Mike D, Shane Shaji again, Trav Val K. I hope I got it this time. Brant Phillips, 12 Tips with Tommy, Tatum Miller, Sheena123, and I see now we have Andres. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I'm dumb. Lambaria. Thank you so much. I know, right? Every time I see or hear Anita Starr's name, I think of Anita Vito. Brant Phillips, thank you. Okay, I'm trying not to get distracted, but you know how it is. But thank you all so much for coming. Are we ready for some fun? So let's see. When we left off yesterday, they just had the power veto ceremony, and Cody chose not to use the power of veto, which means that Janelle or Kaser will be leaving on Thursday. No! This is so sad. Oh my God. So Kaser and Janelle were chatting up on the Sky Bridge, and Kaser's like, do you want me to go around and piss everyone off so that you can stay? Okay, sir, you're just the best. So he tells Janelle, like, you're the better game player. I'm just thinking about long term, like, what's going to be better? Who's going to be able to last longer in this game? So Janelle's like, I'm not going to deny it. Like, I am the better gamer, you know, between the two of us. I mean, yeah, she's done a lot better than him. But she tells Kaser, like, obviously you're a decent player, but you get too excited and you want to do all these things and get crazy, and that gets us in trouble. So just like calm it down. So Kaser's asking, what advice would you give me if I stay? Besides, like, calm down, because that's obvious, right? She's always telling him to calm down. So Janelle says, honestly, like, you should just go into the shadows and not do anything for as long as possible. Stop trying to lead people to the promised land, because that is not really working for you at this point. I'm going to miss these two so much. So Kaser says, all right, well, I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to do that again for a while. You know, Kaser's not going to be able to help himself, and he's going to do some crazy stuff. So then they were talking about how special their friendship is. You know, they met like 15 years ago, and they didn't really keep up with each other outside of the house. But when they're back together, it's like they haven't skipped a beat. Like, it's just like it was before. And they're really going to work on maintaining their friendship better in the real world this time. Please, we need more. So they chat for a long time about real life stuff. Eventually it comes back to game. So Janelle asks Kaser, what is your plan for the week? Because he said before that, like, he didn't want to campaign and stuff, and Janelle was telling him, like, no, you should campaign. So Kaser says, you're looking at it. You know, I plan on hanging out with you. You're going to be gone soon, so I want to make sure we're, like, spending time together. So Janelle's like, oh, yeah, you think they're going to vote me out? I mean, they both know that Janelle is considered, like, the bigger threat. So Kaser's like, yeah, I get a sneaking feeling that it's going to be you leaving. And Janelle agrees. So then they're trying to figure out of the two of them, like, who would have a better shot at winning. So, of course, we know that Janelle has made it to the final three twice. She has the ability to win competitions, but because she's made it so far before, that's going to make her a bigger target. It's going to be a rough road for her, whereas maybe Kaser will be able to kind of just, like, sit back and fly under the radar for a little bit. Maybe some other targets will emerge. So Janelle says at the same time, if she goes this week, that's going to be the third woman in a row and no guys have left. So maybe she can work the whole girl power angle because they're going to need her help later on. Yeah, but when you got like Danny and Nicole running the show, they don't give a shit about girl power. So then they were discussing like who they would work with, whichever one of them stays. And Kaysar feels like he would have to try and make a deal with Tyler and Cody because they are, you know, really running things right now. And they're like winning all the competitions. So yeah, he said he's going to be like, yo, I've got the brains, you got the brawn, let's make lots of money. It's very like Pet Shop Boys. But he says he knows that he can't fully trust them. No way. So Janelle is saying on her end, like she would have to play it week by week, but she might try and play with like Bailey and Day. Obviously, she's already got a good relationship with Bailey, and she's working on it with Day. So they agree. They're cool with each other campaigning to stay. It's not like they're going to do some like smear campaign. They're both just going to say to people why they feel they would benefit people's games. Of course, I know the Pet Shop Boys. Are you kidding me? So they're not even sure if they're going to be able to sway anyone with their campaigning. I mean, they figure the votes are probably like set already. Yeah, pretty much. So then they go through potential votes. So this would be like to stay. So Kaysar feels like he probably has Nicole for obvious reasons and Ian because he's got a pretty good relationship with Ian, and also Ian is close to Nicole. And Janelle's like, I feel like maybe I'd have Cody because he has never really been on the same page as Kaysar. She keeps saying that she's going to have Memphis. Bailey, obviously. She's not going to have those. So she's, in her like campaign planning, she's really focusing on getting Danny's vote. She says she needs that vote. It's going to be pivotal. I cannot speak today. There's just so much going on. She feels like Danny's vote is going to be pivotal, but she feels like Danny's really pissed at her. So not sure she's going to be able to get that. Yeah, she's not. So Janelle says she really wants to stay, whereas Kaysar is kind of like, I could go either way. Like, I don't know that I necessarily need to be here. He's fine just like going home and being with his family. So yeah. All right. So then Tyler and David are chatting up in the HOH room. They're talking about the vote this week. And David is saying he does not like that Kaysar is associated with Memphis. Kaysar is not with Memphis. Oh my God, he will not let this go. So he thinks that Kaysar could be partially responsible for him going up on the block last week. Oh my God, he's not. So then Tyler's saying, you know, it seems like most people want Janelle out at this point. I mean, Nicole, Cody, Enzo, they've all said that. And Danny's like, David says, yeah, I want Janelle to go too. And from what I've heard, so does Ian. So Tyler's like, okay, cool. But this week kind of sucks for him because he knows he's going to be moving up on that target list. He did not want to take out Janelle or Kaysar for his own game, but he felt like he had no other move because everybody else wanted them nominated, like literally everybody else, except for maybe Bailey. So he felt like if he didn't go along with that, he was going to be in big trouble. So he says he would have liked for Janelle and Kaysar to both stay and be a shield for him. He is going to be a huge target now moving forward. I mean, like Tyler, I feel like could have pulled this off and gone after somebody else and gotten away with it, but this is what he decided to do. So David's like, don't worry about it. Somebody else is going to do something to become a target. Is it going to be David? I'm just telling you guys, we got some crazy David stuff coming up. Like, I can't even. So then they're talking about Danny, and Tyler says he feels really tight with Danny, but she plants seeds in people's heads, and then she walks away, and he hates that. And this is something that we've been hearing from Tyler over the last few days more and more, that he's getting like really suspicious of Danny. And he says she's playing the best game right now in his eyes. He can't even think of anyone that would put her up. Hello, that should be a huge sign to you, and maybe you should like start targeting her at some point. Hello. So David says he feels like Christmas and Bailey are also playing great games, but he feels really secure with Bailey. And he lets Tyler know that Bailey feels better with Tyler than she does with Cody, and that is going to be important to Tyler because he's worried that him and Cody are going to be the next Janelle and Kaser. So he's trying to think like, if I end up on the block next to Cody, am I going to have the votes to stay? So that is definitely some welcome information from David. So then Tyler tells David, like, you're looking pretty solid. I think you could go deep into this game, and I want to see you go deep into this game. I'm sorry, but David is really rubbing me the wrong way now. So he does give David the heads up, like, hey, Cody and Enzo are saying they kind of wish that you were tighter with them and would talk to them more. I know you're nervous about the Guys Alliance rumor floating around and like getting caught up in that. But David's like, no, like I do need to spend more time with Enzo. I need to talk to him more. Okay. So then Janelle campaigns to Danny in the lounge because she feels like she really needs Danny's vote in order to stay this week. It's not going to happen, girl. But, you know, she's got to try. And I don't think she realizes how much Danny is against her. So Janelle asks Danny which way she's leaning for the vote this week. So Danny says, as far as I know, it seems like the house is wanting you out. Are you the house? She asked which way you're leaning, but okay. Honestly, Danny is basically the house at this point. She's calling a lot of shots. But she tells Janelle it's still early. Things can change. So then Danny asks, what's up with Kaser? Does he want to leave? Because that's what a lot of people... like, that's the vibe that a lot of people are getting off of him, that he just wants to go home and, like, be with his son. So Janelle's like, no, he's just bummed because he blames himself for last week, everything that happened, and, you know, he's really sad about that. But he's okay. So then Janelle's like, so you think everyone's going to vote me out? And Danny says, that's the consensus that she's getting for most people. Look at Danny actually being honest to Janelle for once. Amazing. So she tells Janelle, everybody sees you as a bigger threat than Kaser. So that's where we're at right now. So Janelle starts campaigning with Danny, saying, you know, I think I would really benefit your game. Kaser has more relationships than I do. So if he goes, I'm going to be all alone. And you can just scoop me right up. I'd be willing to work with you. And she says, I can help you out with competitions. I'd have your back all the way. So Danny says, if you stay, I want to work with you 100%. That's a lie, Maury style. So Janelle is like, okay, if I can get 5 votes, will you be my 6th? Because remember, you need 6 votes to stay this week. There's no tie possible. So Danny's asking, all right, well, how many do you have right now? And Janelle says, just like 1, Bailey. But she's thinking maybe she could get Day, maybe Kevin, maybe Christmas. So then Janelle's asking Danny, like, what do you think about Cody and Enzo? Is there any chance that either of them would vote to keep me? And Danny's like, I don't know. That's going to be a no for that, dog. So Janelle says she's a massive target who's not winning competitions. So if you keep her around, she'll just be on the block like every single week. So you don't really have to worry about her. So then Janelle asks again, if I can get 5, will you be my 6th? And Danny's like, I got to think about it. I don't want to be in a bad spot by giving you an answer right now. But she says it's not a no. Yes, it is. So Janelle says she's really pissed at all the people who've been throwing her under the bus and dragging her name through the mud. And it was funny because after she said that, there was like a moment of silence. And it almost seemed like you could just read on Danny's face that she was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Is she talking about me? I don't think she was. I don't think Janelle realizes how Danny's been doing her dirty. But you could just see, I could see the wheels turning in Danny's mind. Like, is she talking about me? Yeah. So they both agree that Kevin does not like Janelle. Janelle is talking about Kevin. She does not like him, and he does not like her. So Janelle thinks maybe the reason that he doesn't like her, it has like something to do with the Unicole situation last week, because he was really putting a lot of poison into her ear. But Janelle was really disappointed that Unicole was dragging her and blaming everything on her when she was just trying to help her. It was insane. So then this was interesting. I mentioned to you guys yesterday that there was like a wall yeller in the like outside of the backyard the other night, and Janelle and Cody were both outside at the time, and Janelle says, you know, I just want to let you know I heard the wall yeller and they were saying my name. So she says that she and Cody heard it 3 times. They didn't hear anything else. They just heard her name like 3 times. And Danny's like, really? So then at the end of the conversation, Janelle asks a 3rd time if Danny will vote for her to stay if she can get 5. So Danny again does not want to say yes. She says it's not a no, but it's also I can't say yes at this point. And I feel like watching this, it seemed like the real estate agent in Janelle was really coming out. Like I felt like I was watching her like try to negotiate a deal on a house. So Janelle was like, all right, well, you're leaning towards it though. And Danny was like, yes. No freaking way. So Danny's like, all right, go work some magic and see what you can do. Okay, so guess what? Danny goes and runs right to Cody to tell him all about Janelle's campaign. She's like, oh, she's trying to get the girls to band together and blah, blah, blah. Danny is not believing any of Janelle's campaign, but like Janelle's actually telling the truth, which is whatever. So Danny tells Cody, you know what, Janelle's going to be pitching to you soon, so get ready. And Cody's like, oh, man. He says, this is the worst part. And Danny says, I know. I wish we could, like, lock ourselves in a room where, like, no one can talk to us. Okay, so then Danny has to know. She asks Cody, did the wall yeller, say Janelle's name? And Cody confirms he did hear Janelle's name. He said he heard it clear as day. And Danny says, well, it doesn't matter anyway. Oh, the jealousy. Oh, my God. Okay, so then you just know Danny's like, well, why isn't the wall yeller saying my name? So then Cody starts looking forward to next week because, you know, they're on the same page that Janelle should be going. So Cody says next week is going to be really important for them. Danny says we should not win the next HOH because we don't want to show our cards yet. It's too early. We're in the middle right now. Like, we don't want to mess that up. And she says they would still be able to sway who goes up on the block in most cases. So, like, let's not win. But they agree if Memphis wins, they would like to see somebody like Memphis win because they're in an alliance with him. They feel like they'd have some say, which is interesting because last time Memphis was HOH, he didn't include anyone in his decision-making. So, yeah. But the reason they want Memphis to win is because they have this intel now that Bailey was dropping Memphis's name as a target. Remember when the Slick Six was all meeting together like the night before, and Bailey was like, well, we're not just going to let Memphis like fly under the radar now, right? Like, we can't forget that he's got to be a target for us. And everyone was like, yeah, we got to take out Kaser, not Memphis. So they're planning on telling Memphis all about this because they want to get Bailey up on the block, even though they're aligned with her as well. They want her up on the block, but they don't want to be the ones to do it. So they're pretty excited because they're thinking if Nicole or Ian win HOH, they would probably also both put up Bailey and Kaser. What a mess, guys. What a mess. Okay, so there was like a real throwback situation yesterday because Tyler got the HOH camera. He got a nice little digital camera to use. So everybody was taking pictures in the backyard. They also did like a big group photo. They never got to take a group photo with the full cast this year. They didn't do like the swimsuit photo shoot or anything like that, which is kind of a bummer, but you know, it is what it is, 2020. So Christmas also took a family photo with all of her punishment star babies. But the best part was before she went outside to take this picture, Day was watching the pillow babies. And she gave this one pillow with the angry face a hilarious telling it to like fix its face, and like if it frowns, its face is gonna get stuck like that, and like it was just very funny. And like she went on for a while, but it was hilarious. It's got to be like the funniest thing that I've seen on the feeds, maybe all season. Like it was awesome. But anyway, later, Janelle and Kaser check in the key bedroom, and Janelle says, I talked to Bailey. She said she wants me to stay. And Kaser's like, that's good, but like we already knew that. Like obviously Bailey's gonna want Janelle to stay. But Janelle also shares that she talked to Danny. She apologized for her behavior last week, like throwing Danny's name around and stuff, saying that she's like working in all these alliances, which she is. But she also says, I feel like Danny and I are in a better place than we were last week. So at least it's like moving in the right direction. So then they were talking about how Janelle is realizing more and more now that she's campaigning that Unicole was really causing some major problems for them last week. They thought it was Davon, but it was Unicole who was like going around spreading stuff and basically sharing every piece of information that they would give to her. So they lament over Unicole basically just like screwing them over when they worked so hard to keep her. So then while they were talking, Kevin walks into the room so awkwardly. This was so freaking weird. He was just like, oh, sorry. And then it was just like so bizarre and awkward. And he was just like getting his stuff for a shower, but he just like it was just like really sketchy. So like after he left, Kaser was like, how convenient, like for him to walk in while they're talking, because they know that Kevin has also been spreading some major BS about them. So Kaser's like, I don't understand Kevin. Speaking of Kevin, Janelle's like, let's go over a hit list because I love it. So they're trying to figure out like who they would go after for whoever, like whichever one of them stays. So they both agree that they would not put up Cody or Tyler. They say that they would nominate Kevin and Nicole with the intention of getting rid of Kevin. As much as I love Janelle and Kaser, I do not like this move for them. I don't. I really think whichever one of them stays, if they come into power, like they need to cause some sort of upheaval, some sort of power shift, because if not, this season is really going to go down the tubes fast. Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll change their minds like when it actually gets to that point. Right now, they're very angry and upset and probably bitter. So it would make sense that they want to take out somebody like Kevin, but I hope they change their minds. Okay, so later, Cody and Danny have a game chat in the photo bedroom. These two are like always together. So Danny asks Cody, who would you like to see go in the next 3 evictions? Like this one not included, like Janelle's going. After her, who do you want to see go? So Cody's like, oh, well, Kaser's got to go next, like right away. And then he's like, after that, we need to start thinking about who we don't want to be on the jury. And he's not saying like, oh, we don't want to hang out with this person in the jury house. He means like, I don't know if this person would vote for me in the end, like that kind of thing. So he says, with that in mind, he would want Davon to go after Kaser, and then he wouldn't mind like Kevin going after her. Okay, so yikes. I'm not saying that Cody is racist. I'm not saying that, but I am saying like that is 3 people of color in a row. I'm just saying like those are the people that he's saying need to go, and that's, you can look at that however you want to look at that. I'm just pointing it out. I don't need anybody like going crazy. So then Danny says, keep in mind, if we do get rid of Day, Kevin would be really easy for us to pull in, and he could be a number for us. So, you might want to think about that. And Cody's like, yeah, but I feel like Kevin, I don't know how he would vote. Like in the end, is he going to be bitter? And Danny is arguing, no, I think Kevin will vote fairly if he's in the jury. Okay. So then Cody is back to Day. He's saying he doesn't like that she's running around talking about a guys alliance. He says that's a big problem. And he's worried that doing that, Day would eventually be able to pull in Christmas with that angle, because he feels like Christmas is all about like, yay, women. And Day would be like, we need to go after this guys alliance, and eventually she'd be able to get Christmas on her side. Cody says he doesn't fully trust Christmas. They're in that Memphis alliance together, but he is not feeling great about her at this point. He says that she reminds him of Caleb from season 16, really good at competitions, really strong, but easily swayable, and that makes him nervous. So then Cody starts talking about how the whole like girl versus guy thing is like his biggest pet peeve in the game, says the guy in like a Guys Alliance. So wrong. But he says so many women have won this game, and Danny's like, not in comparison at all. She says Nicole is the only woman to beat a man in the final 2, which is not true. Nicole was the first one to do that, but there have been others after her. But yeah, I mean, Danny's like, no, more men have won than women, like a lot more. And Danny says there's a few reasons for why this always happens. She's saying like women get really bitter and maybe like don't want to vote for another woman to win, and guys don't want to get beaten by a girl. There are multiple factors here at work, I think. I would agree with that. I think it's just like a respect thing too. For some reason, the jury is like more likely to respect a man that like, it's just like this ingrained patriarchy, I would say. I think that's kind of like an over generalization, but I think that's part of it, right? So then Danny was also saying that like guys get away with a lot more than girls in this game. Like you can have a guy and a girl playing the exact same way, and the guy will be praised for it, and the girl is going to be targeted for it, which I 100% agree with. That is so true. Okay. So then Danny asked Cody, what do you think of Tyler, like game-wise? And we've seen the last few days, Danny keeps bringing up Tyler to Nicole and saying, like, we need to look out for him because he's really dangerous. Like, we're not going to be able to beat him in the end. So Cody says, yeah, Tyler would be very difficult to beat towards the end. This is exactly what Danny's been saying. So Danny agrees, and she says if Tyler makes it to the end, everyone's going to vote for him. He's friendly. He's a beast in competitions. He is a really well-rounded player. So Danny says she trusts Tyler, and she wants him around for a long time. But she agrees with Cody, like, if Tyler gets to the final 6, final 7, like, he's really going to make a run for it, and that's going to make them nervous. So I'm curious, like, will Cody tell Tyler about this? Is he going to snitch on Danny? I haven't seen him snitch yet on Danny, so interesting. Yeah, so then Nicole joins them a little later, and again, they're talking about who they don't want to be in the jury. And Cody's like, Nicole, I'm sorry, but Ian's going to have to go at some point. Like, he's just too dangerous to keep around. And Nicole's like, whatever. What? But she does say, like, right now he has our backs. So we should probably be keeping him around. I don't think she wants to defend Ian too hard right now because that's going to freak people out. But I do think that she wants to keep him around. So then Cody, again, is saying he doesn't want Day in the jury. She's not going to vote for any of them to win if they're the ones to take her out, which is interesting that he would say that because she did vote for Nicole to win after she freaking snaked her. So, yeah, that just doesn't make sense to me. But Cody doesn't like that Day has been trying to flip stuff. She's spreading things like the Guys Alliance when they're supposed to be aligned. I'm sorry, but like it's ridiculous to use that argument when you have like 50,000 alliances. It's ridiculous. So anyway, Nicole warns Cody, you also need to be careful with Bailey. Of course, Nicole is going to be saying this because now that Janelle is going, Bailey is Nicole's new target ever since the whole it took a few tries and a few guys thing. So Nicole says Christmas told her that she thinks that Bailey would put up Tyler and Cody if she were to win HOH, which I don't think is true. But I mean, it'd be awesome, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. So yeah, Cody is curious. Is Christmas going to tell me about this? If not, he's going to be pissed. Why is he working with her if she's not bringing back information? So he's going to be keeping an eye on that. So now he's not only upset with Day and Bailey, but also Christmas. So Cody feels like Bailey is trying to get other people to put him up so that she won't have to do it. And he's like all upset about that because they're supposed to be in an alliance. But it's funny because this is exactly what Cody is trying to do with Bailey. He's trying to get somebody like Memphis or Nicole to put her up. So he's getting mad at her for doing the exact same thing. It's wild. So then they talk about the possibility, say it is Bailey and Kaser up on the block next week. They're like, maybe we should take out Bailey and just like let Kaser stick around for a while because they feel like Bailey would be more of a threat. But Danny reminds them, there could be a pre-jury battle back. And if Janelle comes back, she's going to be in here with Kaser again. And we can't have that. But we know that there's not going to be a pre-jury battle back. They don't know that. So, yeah. Meanwhile, oh my God, you guys, we're on this part. Meanwhile, Janelle is campaigning to David in the storage room. So we already saw last week when David was up on the block, he had a very awkward conversation with Janelle when he was trying to campaign to her. And there was all this weirdness because he was telling her like, oh, you're associated with Memphis, because she was asking him, if I vote to save you, like, what are you going to do for me? And he like begrudgingly offered her a week of safety. Is that the wind? I think it is. Some wind noises in here. But he was like, okay, I'll keep you safe for a week or whatever if I win HOH. But it was just very threatening and like him saying, I'm coming after you, bish. So it was just like a very uncomfortable conversation. This one was worse. This was so bad. So Janelle asks David, I just want to also say, like, for context here, the shoe's on the other foot now, and Janelle is campaigning to David to stay. And I think David is like kind of on a power trip, but like without having power. I don't know. So Janelle asked David, where's your head at with things? And David's like, I don't know yet. So Janelle's like, okay, well, what are you basing your vote on this week? And David says, well, you and Kaser were both campaigning to get rid of me last week. So you guys are like in the same bubble in my eyes. Okay. So then Janelle's like, well, I voted for you to stay. And David says, I know, but I felt like there were a lot of lies. I felt like you were using and manipulating Nicole you, Nicole. Oh my God. So Janelle is freaking shooketh. She's like, Nicole Anthony? She says, no. On my kids, I did not manipulate that poor woman. She had a mental breakdown. So she tells David, I promise you, I've never done anything bad to Nicole A. I had nothing to do with her going up. I'm not with Memphis. Like, I had no part in that. Because, of course, he's also like, oh, you're associated with Memphis. So David is not believing this. He is believing, like, everything you, Nicole, told him last week. So David's like, all right, well, I don't know which of the two of you would be better for my game, you or Kaser. He says, again, you guys were both trying to get me out. So Janelle says, I'm definitely not going after you. In fact, I would love to get a group together with you, Day, and Bailey. Like, I think we could really do a lot of damage together. So David asks, where's the level of trust I can have with you? And Janelle says, it's 100%. I'll tell you everything. So David responds, there's no historical reference to make me think that that can be true. How are you going to talk about historical reference when you've never watched the damn show? Oh my God. Have you ever even seen an episode of Big Brother? Like, come on. So I don't know. I just feel like he's got a lot of nerve talking about like historical references when Janelle has been so loyal to her alliances in the past. Hello, Sovereign 6, but he wouldn't know that. So anyway, David says Janelle has lied to him before. So Janelle's like, about what? Like, can you give me an example? So David says, I don't want to go tit for tat because you're just going to deny it. So Janelle's like, no, I would like to know. And David says, it doesn't matter at this point. Like, you're just going to deny it. So then he says, she spreads lies and rumors and speculation around the house. And then he asks her, do you deny it? How is she supposed to deny it? Like, you're not giving her an example. He still refuses to give her an example of how she lied to him. And he's asking her, like, do you deny it? So David says it really hurt him last week. That his name was getting tossed around as, like, working with other people when he has just been making an effort to get to know people and, like, spending hours of his day to make the house comfortable for everyone. I'm pretty sure he's referring to him like cleaning up after people and keeping the house tidy. Okay, so because you've been cleaning and getting to know people and not trying to form alliances, you're just like immune and nobody's gonna talk like game about you? What? So Janelle says she loves his passion for the game. She respects it. She hopes that they can bridge the gap and work together in the future. And David says that'll be evaluated at a later time. Oh my God. Okay, I have had a headache all day, and I thought that it was because of like my sinuses, but now I'm starting to think it was because of these conversations with David, because it is so frustrating and so annoying to watch. Like, he really sucks at this game. I'm sorry. I was excited that he was coming back and getting another chance, but like, holy shit, what a train wreck. Okay, so anyway, Bailey later was in the HOH room with Tyler, and she was telling Tyler, we need to stick with our 6, you know, the Slick 6. And she loves the 6. She says Day is her number 1 girl, but she also wants to have a number 1 boy who will be her bestie, and she feels like Tyler could be a really great candidate for that. So she's like, I wasn't sure if you've already been like taken by Danny. And Tyler's like, no, Danny and I aren't as close as she makes it out to be. Tyler says he's down to work with Bailey closer. And Bailey's like, yeah, it's going to be a real friendship, like even after the game is over too. And they're like all excited and blah, blah, blah. But Tyler keeps pushing how they have to stay loyal to the 6. Like, he keeps saying, like, we need to stay loyal to the 6, and then, like, we'll be good. He's really pushing this. Yeah, so, I mean, they hug at the end of the conversation. It's like, whatever. I don't think that Tyler is going to choose Bailey over, say, like, Cody or Enzo, like all his like dudes. But I do think that Tyler is somewhat loyal to the Six. Like, I don't know what his deal is for sure. But I also want to say, like, this wasn't some secret conversation that Bailey was having behind Day's back. She did end up telling Day about this later. And I mean, they've talked about it before, how they were going to try and pull Tyler closer within that group of six, to try and like make sure that they're going to be good and they're not at the bottom of the totem pole, which they are. I think Day even ended up talking to Tyler later too about pretty much the same thing and them being kind of like a 3. So of course Tyler's going to be like, yeah, let's do it. Cause he's not going to say no. He says yes to like everything. So anyway, Janelle continues on the campaign trail. She's talking to Christmas. She's telling her, I want to work with you. I can help you make a move when the time comes. Girl power, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's, basic stuff. And there's no decision from Christmas yet. I mean, we know she's going to vote Janelle out, but she's not saying that. Meanwhile, we've got Day and Kaser in the bathroom area. Oh my God, this conversation killed me. So Day tells Kaser, I'm not happy that it seems like you're giving up. Like, why are you not campaigning right now? So Kaser says he's not giving up. He is just exhausted from everything that happened last week. He's regrouping. He also said that he's not going to sit one campaign against his girl. Oh my God. The best. So then he's saying, like, after last week, I don't know who I can trust anymore. I don't know what's going on. He says, he's hearing from Tyler that everyone went to him and said that they wanted Janelle and Kaser out this week. So he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. So again, Kaser's saying, like, I'm not giving up, but I'm also not campaigning. I'm just going to like sit back and see where the votes fall. And Day's like, no, that's not acceptable. She says, you don't have to campaign against Janelle, but you gotta at least campaign for yourself. You can campaign without trashing Janelle. So Kaser is saying things about all of this for him. He says, coming back after all this time and being able to play with that woman, Janelle, again is special. He says, this is it. This will never happen again. And he said, it comes to an end this week. And that sucks. Oh my God. I'm going to cry. Like, the friendship between Janelle and Kaser is like almost too much to take. It's so precious. And this is heartbreaking to watch them be split up this week. So Day is telling him, like, all of that is fine. I get that you're regrouping, but tomorrow I need you back in this game. I also love like Day motivating Kaser right now. So Kaser says if he stays, he wants to work with Day. They're going to kick some ass. And Day says, yes, we're going to light some shit on fire. That's all I want. Like, please do it. Like, I don't know how Day is going to work with Kaser moving forward if he is the one to stay. And at this point, it looks like he will be. I would love to see them work together. I think that would be amazing. I think it's going to depend on who wins the next HOH. Because Day knows that she's in trouble with a lot of her alliance members at this point. She does not realize how immediate that danger is. I think if she knew that she's the next target after Kaser goes, she would probably be more motivated to work with him and like change things up, but she doesn't realize that yet. So anyway, Tyler and Cody have a game chat in the HOH room. They're trying to figure out when they should let Memphis know that Bailey has been dropping his name as a target. Should we wait until Memphis wins an HOH? Should we say it like when Christmas wins and hopefully she'll want to protect the alliance and go after Bailey? I feel like they're not going to be able to keep this in and they're going to tell the next HOH, like if it's somebody in their group that's not aligned with Bailey. So Cody is like, oh, I didn't think all my alliances would be targeting each other already. He doesn't want to have to show his cards until like week 5, he said. So they're talking about how they don't want to be in a situation yet where one person from each of their alliances is up on the block and they have to choose between them and show their cards. So when I say like both alliances, I'm talking about the Slick Six versus Memphis's crew, because there's a lot of overlap there, but you got some people that are not in both of them, like Bailey and Day. Who else? Nicole is not in both of those. She's in Memphis's, but not Slick Six. Christmas is only in Memphis's, not Slick Six. So yeah, they're in the middle of that, and they don't want to have to choose this early and show who they're more loyal to. I think they're more loyal to Memphis's side for sure, but they're not wanting to show that yet, just in case. So overnight, Christmas got some more star babies. She's up to 13 now. Any guesses on how high it's gonna go? I don't really care. We got so much other shit going on. So this morning, oh my God. This morning, Kaser was in the kitchen with David, and Kaser asks him, which way do you think you're going to be voting? And David says, I'll know Thursday at 3. Oh my God. Okay. This is like ridiculous. I feel like when David was up on the block last week, everyone was like really respectful and like being really nice to him. And David is like being a dick to Kaser and Janelle. It's crazy. But David says, I'm probably going to keep you, Kaser, but it sucks because you're probably going to come after me. And Kaser's like, what are you talking about? I'm not targeting you. We just talked the other day about how I want to work with you. Like, did you forget about that conversation? And David's like, yeah, but that's like trying to talk to someone with low credit. Wow. So Kaser is laughing because I think he's just like, what is wrong with you? And he tells David, like, it's too early for jokes. And David's like, oh, but it's not too early to laugh at jokes. What the hell is going on here? So then David was talking about how he wants to have a house meeting if he wins HOH. And all I can think is like, oh my God. Can you imagine the disaster of a David HOH? I can't even. So, like, great. He'd probably be going after Memphis, so that's cool. But like, oh my God, just the energy of a David HOH. Okay, so Tyler and Memphis have a chat in the HOH room, and we get some clarification on something that I've been wondering about. So I've been hearing Janelle going around saying that she's got 2 votes locked in. She says Bailey and Memphis. And I was kind of curious, like, why does she think that she has Memphis? Like, maybe she does, but like, why? So Memphis tells Tyler, like, yeah, Janelle campaigned to me, and she asked me if she could get 4 votes, would I be her 5th or whatever? And he told her that he would. So he's not going to do that. He's just telling her what she wants to hear. So Tyler's like, the more you make Janelle feel like she has a fighting chance, the less Hail Marys she's going to try and throw. So that will be good for their alliance. And Memphis is like, yeah, if I tell her that, yes, I will keep her, then that'll keep her from trying to flip other people. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Boo. Okay, so then Memphis was talking about how the girls in their alliance need to step up and win some competitions, because right now, like, the guys are doing all the dirty work and they really need to share the burden. Because he's like, okay, these girls think that they can just like ride our coattails and we're going to like get all of the blood on our hands. That's exactly what they're planning on doing. So he says, if everyone in our alliance is playing hard for these competitions, our 6 can win every single HOH. That sounds miserable for us. Oh my God. So anyway, you thought it was over with David, but there's more. There's so much. So Janelle tries to campaign to David again this morning. David, he seems like a really nice guy in real life, but David sucks at Big Brother. He does not know how to talk to people in this game, and it is not good. So it was like, I can't go into every little detail of this conversation because I just can't. But basically, David is still insisting that Janelle manipulated Unicole last week. Oh my God. But at the same time, he's also upset that Janelle campaigned for Unicole against him. But he's also saying that he wanted Unicole to stay too. you know you were up on the block against her, right? What? So, whatever. Janelle proposes a deal to David. She tells him, if you vote to keep me this week, I will promise you 3 weeks of safety with me. And if you're up on the block and I win the veto, I will use it on you. That's a pretty sick deal, right? I mean, obviously, at this point, Janelle is going. So what's he supposed to do with that? But also, just like the way that he doesn't accept it, is ridiculous. Because he's like, no, I can't accept that. Like, he repeats the same lame line about her having like a low credit score.
What?
It's just like insane. It's insane. He's just like talking down to people. It's crazy. It's very difficult to watch and frustrating. So, yeah. Janelle and Kaysar are both continuing a campaign today. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. There is another, apparently, while I was reviewing for this, there was another conversation between Kaysar and David, and apparently it was like terrible. And David was trying to give Kaysar advice on how to play this game. So yeah, we'll be talking about that tomorrow. But so far it looks like Janelle will still be leaving on Thursday. I'm going to be bummed either way. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to suck either way. So thank you guys all so much for watching, for hanging in here for, it's already been 51 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, but thanks for hanging out. I want to thank also all of our super chatters today. Amazing. So I've got to give a big thanks to Sheen Shaji. Thank you so much. Estine, thank you so much. Andres, Lambaria, thank you so much. Brant Phillips, thank you. Like every day, Brant, you're amazing. Jim Miller, thank you so much. Tyler Fitzgerald, thank you so much. And Tyler has a question. Do I think Janelle can get the votes to stay? I don't, unfortunately. Yeah, Bowie is like raking his bed. I don't think she's going to get the votes to stay. I think there will probably be some form of a Waffle Wednesday, because of course there will be. But I don't think she's going to end up getting them. There's just too much, like there's too many people that are set against her. It's not going to happen. I mean, you never know, but I would say no. Jared Harper, thank you so much. Angela H, thank you so much. Mr. Roybot, still love that name. Thank you. Jewel, is it Jewel Baby?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Kelsey, for a snacky snack. Thank you. I love to snack. Harmony, we got a DeRoche. Okay, thank you for including that pronunciation.
Excuse me?
Yeah, thank you, Harmony. ORPW90, thank you so much. Ashley Barnett, thank you so much. Books and Quirks every day, thank you so much. Laura G, thank you a ton. Greg Landry, thank you so much. Holly Marie, thank you so much. Oh my God, you guys are out of control and so amazing. Morris, thank you so much. And Morris says justice for Jacob Blake. Black Lives Matter. I agree. Absolutely. And we're all praying for Jacob. So messed up, but you guys already know that. Darren McDowell, thank you so much. And because of karma, thank you so much. Seriously, you guys, amazing. I could not do it without you. I'm so freaking thirsty. Hold on a sec.
Pause for refresh.
Okay. That's a whole lot of talking.
How does she do it?
Yeah.
Methinks you are a robot.
I don't know. I mean, Taryn is the true robot, right? I'm not on that level. Bowie agrees.
Me, sir.
But speaking of Taryn, I want to give a shout out to all of my fellow YouTube Big Brother podcasters. Sorry about the barking. Bowie's getting a little restless. So, of course, Taryn at Rob Has a Podcast. Jolene Lunzer. Love her. Honestly, Honecker, Miranda. It was just her birthday the other day. Happy birthday to her. Also, TV Talks with Tom. Metro D. Busy Blue. Carter Matt, which is Matt and Jess. You guys are awesome. Who am I missing?
think you got them all.
I feel like I'm missing somebody.
I don't think so.
If I'm missing anyone, I apologize. But thank you. Thank you all so much. Make sure you check out everybody's stuff because everybody's putting up great content this season as always. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for Waffle Wednesday.
You're awesome.
Yeah. We'll see you all tomorrow. And until next time, much love.